So Mario was born at, well, spent most of your younger years at sea level in California. And so growing up at sea level, training at sea level, curious in your thoughts on how you just kind of adjusted into bed. You're at 3,600 feet, give or take a few yards. And you know, was that a determining factor when thinking about where you want to live? How do you use that to your advantage, or do you actually incorporate altitude as a big part of your training philosophy? Comment on those things.
So I actually wish that bed was higher. 3,600 feet is not too high. I think they say that 5,000 feet is about the level where it benefits you physiologically. But it is harder to run at 3,600 feet, so you do feel the difference when you're coming from sea level. So I guess in the toughness advantage, it is there. I think the people coming up from sea level are going to feel the difference. Adjusting to the altitude here, I think, wasn't too bad, especially because a lot of the trail races are really high altitudes. So that was an advantage. And yeah, I think the people that are coming from higher elevations will really like this elevation. They'll feel very fast.
So, people in progress, a little bit of a counterpoint, right? So, what does the research and altitude training really tell us, and what actually happens? There's a lot of debate on, you know, should you live high, train low? That model we hear a lot, and how does this really apply to the rest of us? And so, it's interesting. I think a coach named Jack Daniels has a really great database of runners, and it's interesting. If you actually look at, you know, we know from a research perspective, which is if I train sea level, I get this response. If I train altitude, I get this response. And if you look at, you know, lots and lots of information he's got on how long people have stayed at altitude, where they live, where they train, you know, how long they've actually acclimatized when they go to different elevations. What the research tends to tell us is that it's very variable. His research shows that if you live at sea level and train at sea level, you're pretty much okay. If you live at altitude and race at sea level, you're at a disadvantage. If you live at altitude and you race at sea level, you're at an advantage. If you live at sea level and you race at altitude, you're at a disadvantage. But there's a huge discrepancy in how much and how long it takes people to acclimatize. He'll have many athletes who go to training camp, and some of those athletes will stay for 2 weeks, some stay for 4, some stay for up to a few days out from a peak race, some come back a month and a half before a peak race. So I think that the take-home point is here, you know, if you're going to think about altitude training, what it does for you, what it means, you have to kind of play and see how your body experiments. And to do that, you have to try and keep things pretty, you know, pretty stable, right? So you have just, you know, if I can do a week camp somewhere, but when I come back home, how do I feel? You know,